Chapter 4 Abduction. Artemis's main problem was one of location. How to locate our leprechaun. There was one slight bunch of fairies, hanging around for God knows how many millennia, and still not one photo, not one from a video, not even a Loch Ness type hoax. They weren't exactly a sociable group, and they were smart, too. No one had ever got his hands on fairy gold, but no one had ever had access to the book either. And puzzles were so simple when you had the key. Artemis had summoned the butlers to his study, and spoke to them now from behind a mini lectern. There are certain rituals every fairy must complete to renew his magic, explained Artemis. Butler and Julia nodded, and so this were no more briefing. Artemis flipped through his hard copy of the book and selected a passage. From the earth-bound power flows, giving the courtesy, so things are old. Plucked out the magic seed, where a full moon, ancient oak and twisted water meet, and bury it far from where it was found, so return your gift into the ground. Artemis closed the text. Do you see? Butler and Julia kept nodding, while still looking thoroughly mystified. Artemis sighed. The leprechaun is bound by certain rituals. Very specific rituals, I might add. We can use them to track one down. Julia raised a hand, even though she herself was 4 years older than Mrs. Singer. Yes? Well, the thing is, Artemis, she said hesitantly, twisting a strand of blonde hair in a way that several local laws considered extremely attractive. Debate about leprechauns. Artemis frowned. It was a bad sign. Your point, Juliet? Well, leprechauns. You know they're not real, don't you? Butler winced. It was his fault, really. He never got around to filling in his sister on the mission perimeters. Artemis scowled reprovingly at him. Butler hasn't already talked to you about this? No. Was he supposed to? Yes, he certainly was. Perhaps he thought you'd laugh at him. Butler squirmed. That was exactly what he thought. Julia was the only person in life who laughed at him with embarrassing regularity. Most other people did it once. Just once. Artemis cleared his throat. Let us proceed on the assumption that the fairy folk do exist, and that I am not a gibbering moron. Butler nodded weakly. Julia was not convinced. Very well. Now, as I was saying, the people have to fulfill a specific ritual to renew their powers. According to my interpretation, they must pick a seed from an ancient oak tree by the bend in a river, and they must do this during the full moon. The light began to dawn in Bella's eyes. So all we have to do is run a cross-reference to the weather satellites, which I already have. Believe it or not, there aren't that many oaks left, if you take ancient to be 100 years plus. When you factor in the river bend of full moon, there are precisely 129 sites to be surveyed in this country. Butler grinned. Stake out. Now the master was talking his language. There are preparations to be made for a guest's arrival, said Artemis, handing a typewritten sheet of A+ to Juliet. These orders must be made to the cellar. See to it, Juliet. To the letter. Yes, Artie. Artemis frowned, but only slightly. For reasons that he couldn't quite fathom, he didn't mind terribly when Juliet called him about the penny his mother had for him. Butler scratched his chin thoughtfully. Artemis noticed the gesture. Question? Well, Artemis, the sprite in Ho Chi Minh City. Artemis nodded. I know. Why didn't we simply abduct her? Yes, sir. According to Chi Lun's Almanac of the People, a 7th century manuscript recovered from the lost city of Shamo. Once the fire has taken sprites, spirits with the mud people, that's us by the way, they are forever dead to their brothers and sisters. So there was no guarantee that that particular fairy was worth even an ounce of gold. No, my old friend, we need fresh blood. All clear? Butler nodded. Good. Now, there are several items you need to procure for our moonlight jaunts. Butler scanned the sheet. Basic field equipment, a few eyebrow razors, nothing too pulsing on two. Sunglasses. At night, when Artemis smiled, as he did now, one almost expected vampire fangs to sprout from his gums. Yes, Butler. Sunglasses. Trust me. And Butler did, implicitly. Holly activated the thermal coil in her suit and climbed to 13,000 feet. The hummingbird wings were top of the range. The battery readout showed 4 red bars. more than enough for a quick jaunt through mainland Europe and across the British Isles. Of course, the regulations said always travel over water if possible, but Holly could never resist knocking the snowcap on the highest Alp on her way past. It still protected Holly from the worst of the elements, but she could still feel the chill sinking into her bones. The moon seemed huge in its altitude, craters on its surface easily distinguishable. Tonight it was a perfect sphere, a magical full moon. Immigration would have their hands full, as thousands of service-sick ferries were drawn irresistibly overground. A large percentage would make it, probably causing mayhem in their revelry. Earth's mantle was riddled with illegal tunnels, and it was impossible to police them all. Holly followed the Italian coast up to Monaco, and from there across the Alps to France. She loved flying. All fairies did. According to the book, they had once been equipped with wings of their own, but evolution had stripped them of this power. Oh, but the stripes. Once ago I believed that the people were descended from airborne dinosaurs, possibly pterodactyls. Much of the upper body's skeletal structure was the same. This theory would certainly explain the tiny nub of bone on each shoulder blade. Holly toyed with the idea of visiting Disneyland Paris. The LAP had several undercover operatives stationed there, most of them working in the Snow White exhibit. It was one of the few places on Earth that the people could pass unnoticed. But if some tourist got a photo of her and it ended up on the internet, we would have her back for sure. With a sigh of regret, she passed over the shadow of multicolored fireworks below. Once across the channel, Holly flew low, skimming over the white-crested waves. She called out to the dolphins and they rose to the surface, leaping from the water to match her pace. She could see the pollution in them, bleaching their skin white and giving them red sores on their backs. And although she smiled, her heart was breaking. My people have a lot to answer for. Finally, the coast loomed ahead of her. The old country. Erio, the land where time began. The most magical place on the planet. It was here, 10,000 years ago, that the ancient fairy race, the Dinanan, had battled against the demon Fomorians, covering the famous giant's causeway with the strength of their magical blast. It was here that the Lee of Feo stood, the rugged center of the universe, where the fairy kings and later the human Ardri were crowned. And it was also here, unfortunately, that the Muppet were most in tune with magic, which resulted in a far higher people sighting rate than you got anywhere else on the planet. Thankfully, the rest of the world assumed that the Irish were crazy, a theory that the Irish themselves had nothing to debunk. They had somehow got it into their heads that each fairy lugged around a pot of gold with him wherever he went. While it was true the LAP had a ransom fund, because of its officers' high-risk occupation, no human had ever taken a chunk of it yet. This didn't stop the Irish population in general from skulking around rainbows, hoping to win the supernatural lottery. But in spite of all of that, if there was one reason people felt an affinity for it was the Irish. Perhaps it was eccentricity, perhaps a dedication to the Craig, as they called it, and if the people were actually related to humans, as another literary had it, odds are that the Emerald Isle were where it started. Holly punched up a map on her wrist locator and set it to see for magical hotspots. The best site would obviously be Terra, near the Lee of Feo, but on a night like tonight, every traditionalist fairy with an overgrown past would be dancing on the holy scene, so as to give it a miss. There was a secondary site not far from here, just off the southeast coast. Easy access from the air, but remote and desolate for landbound humans. Holly reined in the throttle and descended to 90 yards. She skipped over a bristling African forest, emerging in a moonlit meadow. A silver thread of river bisected the field, and there, just singing the field off of me on the loop, was the proud oak. Holly checked the locator for life forms. And when she judged how 2 fields over not to be dirt, she cut her engines and glided to the foot of the mighty tree. 4 months of stakeout. Even Butler, the consummate professional, was beginning to dread the long nights of dampness and insect bites. Thankfully, the moon was not full every night. It was always the same. They would crouch in their foil-lined blind in complete silence, Butler repeatedly checking his equipment, while Artemis stared unblinking through the eye of the scope. At times like these, nature seemed deafening in their confined space. Butler longed to whistle, to make conversation, anything to break down natural silence. But Artemis's concentration was absolute. He would brook no interference or lapse of focus. This was business. was not there in the southeast, the most inaccessible site yet. Butler had been forced to make day trips to the Jeep in order to pump the equipment across a stile, a bog, and 2 fields. His boots and trousers were ruined, and now he would have to sit in the blind with dishwater soaking into the seat of his pants. Artemis had somehow contrived to remain spotless. The blind was ingenious in design, and interest had already been expressed in the manufacturing rights, mostly by military representatives, but Artemis had resolved to sell the patent to a sporting goods multinational. It was constructed of an elasticated foil polymer on a multi-hinged fiberglass skeleton. The foil, similar to that used by NASA, trapped its heat inside the structure while preventing the camouflage outside surface from overheating. This ensured that any animal sensitive to heat would be unaware of its presence. The hinges meant that the blind would move almost like a liquid, filling whatever depression it was dropped into. Instant shelter at vantage point. You simply placed a Velcro bag in the hole and pulled the string. But all the cleverness in the world couldn't improve the atmosphere. Something was troubling Artemis. It was plain in the way of a premature lines that spread from the corners of deep blue eyes. After several nights of fruitless surveillance, Bella plucked up enough courage to ask. Artemis, he began hesitating. I realize it's not my place, but I know there's something wrong. And if there's anything I can do to help, Artemis didn't speak for several moments. And for these moments, those few moments, Bella saw the face of a young boy. The boy Artemis might have been. It's my mother, Butler, he said at last, and beginning to wonder if whoever did the proximity alarm flashed red. Holly hooked the wings of a low branch, unstrapping the helmet to give her ears some air. You had to be careful with elfin ears. A few hours on the helmet and these started to flake. She gave the tips a massage. No dry skin there. That was because she had a daily moisturizing regimen, not like some of the male LP officers. When they took out their helmets, you'd swear it had just started to snow. Holly paused for a moment to admire the view. Ireland certainly was picturesque. Even the mud people hadn't been able to destroy that. Not yet, anyway. Give them another century or two. The river was floating gently before her like a silver snake, hissing as the water tumbled across the stony bed. The oak tree crackled overhead, its branches rasping together in the bracing breeze. Now, to work. She could do the torsing all night once her business was complete. A seed. She needed a seed. Holly bent to the ground, brushing the dry leaves and twigs from the clay surface. Her fingers closed around a smooth acorn. That wasn't hard now, was it? She thought. All that remained for her to do was plant it somewhere else, and her prowess would come rushing back. Butler checked the quarter radar, muting the volume in case it couldn't betray their position. The radar swept the screen with agonizing lethargy, and then, flash! An upright figure by the tree. Too small for an adult, the wrong proportions for a child. He gave Artemis the thumbs up. Possible match. Artemis nodded, strapping the mirrored sunglasses across his brow. Butler followed his lead, popping the cap on his weapon's starlight scope. This was no ordinary dart rifle. It had been especially tuned for a Kenyan ivory hunter, and had the range and rapid-fire capacity of a Kalashnikov. Butler picked it up for a song from a government official at the ivory poacher's execution. They crept into the night with practiced silence. The diminutive figure before them unhooked a contraption from his shoulders and lifted a full-face helmet from a definitely non-human head. Butler wrapped the rifle strap twice around his wrist, pulling the stock into his shoulder. He activated his scope and erected up here in the center of the figure's back. Artemis nodded and his men started to squeeze the trigger. In spite of 1,000,000 to 1 odds, it was at that precise moment that the figure bent low to the earth. Something whipped over Holly's head, something that glinted in the starlight. Holly had enough on the job experience to realize that she was under fire, and immediately curled her elfin frame to a ball, minimizing the target. She drew her pistol, rolling around the shelter of the tree trunk. Her brain scrambled for possibilities. Who could be shooting at her and why? Something was waiting beside the tree. Something roughly the size of a mountain, but considerably more mobile. Nice pea shooter, grinned the figure, smothering Holly's gone hand in a turnip-sized twist. Holly munched her executive fingers and nanoscaled before they snapped like brittle spaghetti. I don't suppose you would consider peaceful surrender, said a cold voice behind her. Holly turned, elbows raised for combat. No. sighed the boy melodramatically. I suppose not. Holly put on her best brave face. Stay back, human. You don't know what you're dealing with. The boy laughed. I believe, Fairy, that you are the one unfamiliar with the facts. Fairy? He knew she was a fairy. I am a magic mudworm, enough to turn you and Gorilla into pig droppings. The boy took a step closer. Brave words, miss, but lies nonetheless. If, as you say, you had magic, you would have no doubt used it by now. No, I suspect that you have gone too long without the ritual, and you're here to replenish your powers. Talia was dumbfounded. There was a human before her, casually spouting sacred secrets. This was disastrous, catastrophic. It could mean the end of generations of peace. If the humans were aware of a fairy's subculture, it was only a matter of time before the two species went to war. She must do something. There was only one weapon left in her arsenal. The mesmer, the lowest form of magic, its lowest form magic, requires only a trickle of power. There are even certain humans with a bent for the talent. It's within the ability of even the most dream fairy to put a complete mind kibosh on any human alive. Holly summoned the final drip of magic from the base of her skull. Human, she intoned, her voice suddenly resonating with bass tones. Your will is mine. Artemis smiled, save behind his mirrored lenses. I doubt it, he said, and nodded curtly. Holly felt the dart puncture the suit's toughened material, depositing its load of purer and succinylcholine chloride-based tranquilizer into her shoulder. The world instantly dissolved into a series of technicolor bubbles, and, try as she might, Holly couldn't seem to hold on to more than one thought. And that thought was, how did they know? It spiraled around her head as she sank into unconsciousness. How did they know? How did they know? How did they? Artemis saw the pain in the creature's eyes as the hollow hypodermic plunged into her body, and for a moment he experienced misgivings. A female. He had expected that. A female, like Juliet, or Mother. Then the moment passed and he was himself again. Good shooting, he said, beginning to study the prisoner. Definitely a girl. Pretty, too. In a pointy sort of way. Sir. Butler was pointing to the creature's helmet. It was half buried in the drift of leaves when the fairy had dropped it. A buzzing noise was coming from the crown. Artemis picked up the contrast by the drops, searching for the source. Ah, here we are. He plucked a field gun from his slot, carried the pointy lens away from him. Fairy technology. Most impressive, he muttered, popping the battery from his groove. The camera whined and died. Nuclear power source, if I'm not mistaken. We must be careful not to underestimate our opponents. Butler nodded, sliding the captain into an oversized duffel bag. Something has to be left across two fields, a bug, and a style.